don't know if you all had certain topics. I just wanted to share with you something, boys.
What's up?
Oh, sure.
So I very rarely get into reality series. But I found one I've been wanting to share with you boys. We might need to do an episode about it or something.
Is it Fuckboy Island?
God, no, I wish.
Is that real? Is that real?
That is real.
No. Well, they call it F-Boy Island like cowards.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched Fuckboy Island?
No.
Give us a breakdown?
A friend of mine has watched it, and they said it was actually very good.
I watched a couple episodes of Too Hot to Handle, which seems like it should be funny. This is what we want to talk about. But like
Okay.
that one is the people are on a bone island and they have like money, and if any of them have sex, they lose money. But it's a group pot, and it's like very arbitrary on what takes money away. So they start, but it's like 16 people and $100,000, which isn't even that much to 16 people spread evenly. It's not even that much.
How do you kick people off? Can you kick people off?
They don't, though. Like, they kicked one person off because he got boring. And then, meanwhile, 2 other people just started shacking up, and they cost the group like $60,000, and they're like, sorry. That's Too Hot to Handle. That's not even the show I wanted to talk about.
Oh, well, then I do have a real quick question for that. Does soaking count? Which I just learned about. I just learned what soaking is.
I also just learned about soaking this week.
Can you guys educate me on soaking?
Paul, you get to do it.
So soaking is a thing that apparently they're doing at Brigham Young University, a Mormon university, where they're Mormons, so they have very strict religious beliefs, and but they are also young adults at the first place where they have their own bedrooms, and they want to have sex
where their parents don't sleep above them.
Yeah,
probably.
where their parents can't hear the sex they're having, so they want to have sex, but they really love Jesus. So they're which is fine if you live Jesus, do whatever you want to do. But this is ridiculous. So you don't have sex per se. You can do what is called soaking, which is you place the penis within the vagina, and there is no motion. It's just soaking. But then there's another stage to it called jump pumping, where a friend of yours, will stand on the bed a third party will stand on the bed next to you while you're soaking and jump to create motion for you that you are not creating for yourself because the bed is being moved by somebody else.
If you thrust your own hips into a vagina, that is sin. But if you happen to just be in a vagina and your friend is making the penis and vagina move back and forth, not your fault.
No, Jesus can't get mad at you.
So I'm sorry, they jump, like the third party jumps at the edge of the bed, like just kind of like wiles out, does some kicks or something?
They do a human infused magic fingers.
Human monkeys jumping on the bed. You know, like in Gymboree as a kid, where you'd have someone on the edge of the like trampoline that would like push down on the big pillow and launch you up even higher. They're like doing that for your sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is the hole in a sheet method of sex.
This just seems like a lot of work for a loophole that God is going to close eventually.
Oh, yeah, he's good. Once he learns about what's going on at BYU, God is coming down for a brief talk.
Mormon God is going to put his spectacles on and be like, all right, well, clearly this is in violation of what I've laid down.
Meanwhile, back over, and then he puts on his other hat and becomes another religion where he's just like, this is okay. Secretly, God is all gods. That's my pitch. I'm just doing it right now.
No, I'm with you on that. That's 100% true.
Yeah. He puts on different disguises when he talks to different people, just to keep things fun.
God is constantly on a date where he has multiple dates, and he's trying to jump between them.
He's talking to Abraham, and then he's like, hold on.
Is this like an episode of Three's Company or something? Yeah. Like he brought too many dates to the dance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
except the main cast of Three's Company is the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.
Yeah. One time he ran back out to Buddha and Buddha's like, why are you a flaming bush right now? What are you doing? And he's like, oh, I got the disguises mixed up, and he had to run back out again. That's a not offensive religion joke, right? I think I think it's positive.
The burning bush is fun.
Okay.
Anyways.
So soaking would be a way to get around the draconian rules on hot ones. What is it called? Hot stuff?
Hot stuff. That's what I was wondering again. Would that count as...
Wait, what are you talking
about? Too hot for business?
Too hot to handle. That's it. The reality show that you didn't want to talk about.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
But we did end up talking about for 6 minutes.
It was like two.
Listen, we're just going to gush about Pete and Pete in a little bit, so we got plenty of time.
I'm very excited to talk about Pete and Pete.
I'm not rushing us. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to find the thread. Okay, so
I'll tell you. All right. Well, by the way, if you don't need to watch Too Hot to Handle, listener. You just need to find the clip where the one dude in the island who hasn't been having sex because he wants that money is just staring at the dumb couple that kept hooking up as he finds out via their Siri robot that they lost $60,000, and it is a mood. That dude going, y'all just fucked with my money, literally, is real good.
Hell yeah. So,
the reality show that I discovered on the History Channel, which is really, I know, kicking a dead horse, fallen from grace, is a reality series called Skinwalker Ranch.
Wait, like the Skinwalker Ranch?
I mean, if you ask them, they're the Skinwalker Ranch, yes.
Okay, go on.
I know there's a bunch of documentaries about Skinwalker Ranch.
Yes.
As soon as we watched this one, a million others were like, "Oh, you want to know more?"
Yeah, that's a hot spot. Yeah,
it is. I want to be careful about what I say about the history of this land because it used to be Native American. And at some point it was sold to a bunch of white dudes. And since then, over the last, maybe Paul, you already know this. I'm
assuming that's who's making the show is the people who ultimately bought the land.
It's the white people who own it have made this show halfway that I think is just an advertisement for Skinwalker Ranch. Like, I think they're trying to sell you t-shirts of Skinwalker Ranch.
They're monetizing this for sure.
Yeah. And they present it like the X-Files, where like, this is a group of experts we have assembled, and we have a compound, and we bought this land, but horses have been mutilated, people get lightheaded, some people have gotten sick. Just it's really like not a super damning list of things so far.
It sounds like a bad place to be if you're a horse, but like a minorly inconvenient place to be if you're a person. Like
what one guy who clearly is like the team's mystic, but he's just a white dude who bought a Native American vest.
Oh God!
Tells a story about how he swore he saw a wolf man staring at him in the darkness one night, and he won't go out alone anymore. Because Skinwalker lore is tied to like werewolves, that sort of thing.
I'm looking at the cast, and I'm assuming Jim Morse is who you're talking about right now.
Yeah. And here's what I really like about it, because fuck these guys, but and also the head of security is a dude who calls himself Dragon.
Yeah, Brian Arnold. I'm looking at that guy too, who was like the most cliche head of security guy I've ever seen in my entire life.
He definitely gave himself a security guard uniform. He is Mac from Always Sunny made real. He wears like all black and a hat, and there's no logo or like anyone else dressing like that. He decided to dress like that.
Did he go bald or did he go ponytail?
I think it's hard to say. He's never taken his hat off, as far as I've seen.
Wow, dedication.
He's always wearing that black hat.
He's a skinwalker himself. He skinwalked a hat onto his head, which he'll never remove now. That's his.
That's the big reveal. Secretly, his hat is made out of his.
It's made of his own skin.
And I think I am just so tickled by this idea, and that like if you ever, please, you guys would have to watch an episode. But the presentation of it is like super high tech, like it's spooky. But they fly this astrophysicist in like a deluxe helicopter after the head of the company, who's like the super nerd who bought it,
Brandon Fugel,
drives him in his like Maserati to the helicopter. And it is an entire organization of dudes who want to be X-Files, but they are secretly becoming Umbrella Corp. And it is the funniest fucking thing.
So I'm confused. Is the point that there are like werewolf-like beings on the ranch, or is the point that there are unexplained phenomenon on the ranch? Or
all things, Kevin, all things catch-all on this. I watched 2 episodes, 2 45-minute episodes with Heidi. I still didn't know exactly what the problem with Skinwalker Ranch was.
Okay.
Skinwalker Ranch is a long, well-known like UFO paranormal like area. Like it's been like for long periods of time, right? Like for like well before all of this stuff. But some people lived there, I think like, I don't know, in the 70s or something like that. and some wild shit happened while they were living there. And then it was sold at one point, and like people, it was shut down. Like the area was shut down. I think in like the 2000s or something, this happened, and it was completely. And this is what is going on. Is what's happening right now, which is obvious why they shut it down. They were like, put a fence around it, and then we will make a lot and then we will make a lot of money off of this.
Okay.
Yeah, Paul, you probably already know this too. They all but say it's pretty obvious that the land is radiated. Mm-hmm. They mentioned that like near World War II, they were doing test bombings in the area, and they're pretty sure like radon and other radioactive materials went into the surface. And there's multiple times they're walking around, and there's like a Geiger counter, and they're like, "Oh, we should be up here. This is dangerous."
Oh my god.
But they won't just say like, "Oh, that's why everyone gets sick all the time," because they're in Chernobyl. Maybe there's a wolf man. But all of it is presented like when they bring in this main dude who's an astrophysicist who seems like the dumbest astrophysicist you've ever met. And they're bringing him in, and they give him a presentation on Skinwalker Ranch in like the highest class office building with like multimedia slides that something you'd need in a Michael Bay movie.
Okay.
These guys are so trying to be cool, and they're all not, and it makes it amazing. The dude who owns the company is like, if Albert Wesker was a nerd.
Yeah, Brandon Fugel, the guy who owns this company, called his company Adamantium Holdings. So,
oh my god.
If that gives you any idea what's going on. Wolverine Corp owns this place.
So it's like he's like a Nathan For You character, where during the first episode, after the end of it, they're like, Southern astrophysicist wants to start digging for tests, and they're like, absolutely not. Dragon's like, I will not let you dig. When you dig, bad things happen. Jim here, when he started digging, he got a big goiter on his head. His head started mutating. They're like, what? Yeah, I won't let you dig. So they call his boss, Adamantium Holdings boss, and he's like, hello, I'm in my office. I have an important call. What is going on? Huh. You want to dig? All right, Brian. Show him the secret file. And then, like, this dude who looks like Charlie's uncle from Always Sunny goes into a back room and brings out a case to present, like, this is the truth of Skinwalker Ranch. And it's just a big magnet that doesn't explain anything.
This is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's so fun to watch these dudes do pretend X-Files.
Yeah.
I have reservations.
I like that so far the worst thing that happens to people is they get some sort of mild ailment.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry. I forgot. There were people who lived on the ranch in the 70s and something bad happened to them, and that case hasn't been disclosed. And that's literally like the the house from Resident Evil 0 or Resident Evil 1. Like,
that's where the last interesting things happened, was in like the 70s, where like people were like, what's going on with this place? Then rich people bought it and it became boring.
I'm not gonna lie, the first episode you described sounded like them just going through DigSafe. Like,
wait, what do you mean? Is DigSafe? What's DigSafe?
DigSafe is who you call if you like have to dig up your lawn and you need to know where the gas lines are.
Yeah, you'd like an ocean compliant dig.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. There should be haunted DigSafe. There should be like you have a power line here. Also, there's some ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
What are they trying to do? What's their purpose here?
I don't know. I honestly don't know what the objective is.
Make money, guys. It's make money off of this show.
They hired an astrophysicist to do what exactly? Just show up and be like, I'd like to dig, I guess. That sounds vaguely sciencey.
We want you to show up and want to do your job. And then we will have the other characters on the show. I mean, real people who own this place. Pretend that you can't. And we will just fight over that for the entire hour of the show. That's what it sounds like. Chad, I'm not gonna. I'm glad you found something that is entertaining you. I will not watch this.
Oh, we're not gonna do a goosebuds on it. Oh,
I refuse. I see all of the angles that are intended to infuriate and trap me into this show from just your explanation. I'm not on board. I'm not doing it. I'm not falling for it.
Dorky Wesker is the funniest fucking concept I think I've ever seen.
That is cool because Wesker already is dorky.
What if he couldn't teleport and he just had a cool car? That's what that was Wesker.
I feel like I couldn't even entirely like open my heart to it, because once I heard reality show, I was like, no, never, not in a million years. I will not.
Yeah.
They just stress me out, man. Like, I don't know what it is.
I don't like the editing on reality TV shows.
Sure.
Artificiality really drives me nuts. I just like, and like, there's tons of things that I watch that are artificially, edited and stuff like that, but there's something about it that just like, skeeves me.
Oh, this one would drive you. I'm totally with you. This one has an extra level of like, if they're going to get in their car and the miles are ready to drive, there is then 30 seconds of like high professional B-roll of like drones shooting them driving across the highway. I'm like, that is not even close to real.
With like slick music and stuff.
You guys shot like a car commercial for yourselves right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Is there product placement? Like, are there like very visible like Cheetos bags or Mountain Dew or anything like that?
Just to make Dorky Wesker look cool.
I say.
Yeah.
I mean, he would look cooler with a bag of Doritos and a Dew in the other hand.
If he pound a gamer fuel, he's like, I love drinking these before I go hunting for werewolves on Skinwalker Ranch.
If he had a Mountain Dew Code Black.
Yes.
Black.
Yeah.
Yes. Or what if he had like a Mountain Dew Code, like another color, like that people couldn't get, like it was an exclusive, like he had like the secret code, like.
Oh yeah.
I was trying to think of a color, and Mountain Dew has done every color.
What's the color that doesn't exist?
Octarine.
Octarine. Mountain Dew Code Octarine. That's what he.
Oh my god. You gotta drink it.
Mountain Dew Fanta Black.
Oh my god, yes.
but not Fanta the drink. Fanta.
Fanta Black.
Fanta, yep.
the Fanta you can't see. It's a very confusing product name.
Totally matte black. It's
you put it on a shelf and you can't see it because it just hides in the shadows.
Dark Miyazaki goo.
Yes. It opens a portal within you.
You open the bottle and all the light in the supermarket goes out. You're like, oh no.
What have I done? I have awoken the old gods. Good lord.
I'm saddened a little bit because I remember watching a lot of like dumb ghost hunter stuff, I think on History Channel back in the day. And this just seems like a more billionaire slant on that sort of thing. Like,
sure, yeah.
Used to be little upstart teams of people with like an EMF detector. Now it's like a landowner.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Yeah, that's Chad, when you're explaining it to me, that's what bugs me about it is like, with the other stuff, like you're saying, Kevin, like you go out to like a well-known, quote unquote, haunted place, right? And you try to verify it for yourself. And anybody can go to that place and do their own explorations and their own investigations. But this 100% is a private-owned land holding, so that they can make up whatever the fuck they want, and nobody can verify it, and they can do whatever they can make this the least reality show of all time. We can only hope that Adamantium Holdings is holding in a lot of radiation poisoning right now inside of their bodies.
Adamant is just diamond, right? It's just adamant is real. It's just what we used to call diamond.
Is that the old name for diamond? Cool.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that Wolverine's skeleton's made out of diamond?
No, it's made out of adamantium alloy, which is like
an alloy of diamonds.
An alloy of diamonds and metal. I actually don't know.
Remember when Magneto ripped out all of his metal and then he had bone Wolverine?
Yeah, but they had to. He started out as bone Wolverine because he had to do the dippy thing. I think like they had to.
Are you referring to the adamantium process as the dippy thing?
Yeah, they had to give him they'd put him in the dip.
I don't know why. I mean, that's pretty accurate what they did. I just like treating him like he's a treat at a giant ice cream parlor. We're just gonna dunk Wolverine to adamantium.
I mean,
I'm looking at Diamond's Wikipedia page, and the only place I see adamantine, which I do see it on there, Kevin, is in its polish luster, which I don't know what that means.
Wow. I don't know. Maybe I just regurgitated a fact that was false.
No, that's cool.
I think that would be the first time on this show that we've done that.
It's involved. It's adamantine is in there. I'm not saying you're wrong, Kevin. I'm just saying that I have confirmed that adamantine is involved in it.
Adamant in classical mythology is an archaic form of diamond.
Oh, so this is like a mithril situation is what we're dealing with here. Cool.
With the eum on the end of it makes it metal, but it's like an archaic form of diamond.
Are you telling me the comics stole from mythology?
I'm telling you, it's all mythology, baby.
All the way
Everything
down.
Mythology is just the history of our emotions, dude.
Shit.
Jesus Christ, that's some heavy.
Hell yeah, put us in there. Let's talk about goddamn Pete and Pete.
What's more mythology than the 90s, right? Like, that couldn't have happened. That wasn't real.
I lived through it, and I'm pretty sure it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might have been just like a fugue state we all went through. I loved this episode.
Me too.
I'm glad. I'm really glad.
This was I didn't remember too much of it. I obviously remembered the the premise of the ball boy getting balls. I think I'm going to say it. This is where that was invented. Rangeboy being abused by the hitters. It was invented here. I don't care if it was invented in the other golf movie that everybody loves. No, it was here.
You think it was perpetuated by Pete and Pete? They made abusing Rangeboys cool.
I think they started a fire they didn't know that they were going to lose control of.
Did this start the fire of also mascot abuse?
Maybe.
There's a lot of truth in this episode.
There's a lot to this episode. Like, it's a really dense 22 minutes. By the way, my name's Kevin. Welcome to Goosebuds.
Oh, yeah, we didn't
Hi, my name's Chad. Welcome to Goosebuds. It's denser than adamantium.
Hello, I am Paul, owner of Adamantium Holdings.
I'm creating a rival Vibranium LLC, and I'm going to take on adamantium.
What was the Iron Man one?
Repulsor Tech.
There's another one, but I'm going to just say Pepperonium Holdings. That's us.
Oh, yeah. Pepperonium Holdings would be an amazing name for a pizza place.
That's my fallback plan. That's my safety school is pizza place. What I wanted to say though, real quick.
Sure.
Was Pete and Pete was a show in the 90s on the Nickelodeon, shot in a beautiful New Jersey. And it has, I think it's the greatest show Nickelodeon made.
Yeah.
I think it has the coolest theme song that of any quote unquote kids show, right?
Oh, for sure. When Polaris starts playing, like,
it's too cool. It's too cool, almost.
A band made up for the show, correct?
Yep. A band made up for the show. I think they got back together like just before COVID and then broke up again. I think they had a little mini like get back together type thing. But yeah,
that'd been cool.
Dang.
Written almost exclusively by people in like the Brooklyn like improv and writing scene. That's why we get Artie in Seinfeld at some point.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wait. I do you mean the actor?
Toby Huss, yeah.
Toby Huss is in Seinfeld? Okay, so there was an Artie cameo in Seinfeld I need to know.
I've been watching, I said Family Guy, King of the Hill, and I gotta say, I discovered something sad, but also interesting, that Khan is not voiced by anyone of Laotian descent, which is bad, very bad. But Toby Huss does it, which is interesting. I don't think it's good, but I think I was surprised by it.
Huh.
If you want to see him in a great role, Halt and Catch Fire, great dramatic turn from Toby Huss.
I think I think this is a good Artie episode as well.
Yeah, it is.
Because Artie is usually on the periphery of most plots. Like, he's just kind of there as just to add a little flavor.
Yeah.
Usually to a Big Pete plot, since Little Pete usually handles his own battles on his own.
Yeah. So, like, what I noticed, especially with Artie in this episode, was Artie is 100% the children's piece. The piece that is there for, like, a kid who's not really paying attention to the story, or maybe is a little too young to understand, like, a little bit more of the depth that older Pete's dealing with. Artie is there to do the goofy faces and say the funny things, but he is not without hilarious lines that I think only an adult could appreciate, such as, I had to write this one down. When what's his turtle friend's name?
Clark.
When Clark first loses his mind, he goes, "Tell him about Paris. You, me, Hemingway, and the big shiny tugboat." Like, so yeah, it's a little lull random, but it's still funny.
The idea that Artie hung out with Hemingway is just amazing, and them like trying to get Clark's memory back because Clark gets turtle amnesia at some point.
Who else did he mention? He mentioned someone like Ruth Bader Ginsburg that he also hung out. He tells another story about him and Hemingway, and that's like he's building a whole lore here.
Yeah, it's some other like I think it was like another writer or something like that.
No, this is probably someone who's also in Midnight in Paris.
Mm-hmm.
I was so focused on Artie in this. I loved him as a kid. He was my favorite character in the show.
Mm-hmm.
I still think he's just like he's doing Ernest P. Worrell level acting. Really going for it.
Yeah.
It was the side plot of. We should tell a little bit about the plot in case you're not remembering the plot of Rangeboy, which plays mostly around a golf course.
It does, and this episode is available on a certain video streaming site on the internet. I will not say where, in the case that I am the one who brings it down. I'm not going to be the one. You
can also buy it on DVD. Please support the official release.
Please do.
I don't think you can get the DVDs anymore.
What?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. They're really. I think they're pretty hard to come by. But I watched this on, as God intended, on my PlayStation 2 on my CRT TV. So
hell yeah,
nice. I have one DVD as well. Going up in value.
Yeah. So this is a Big Pete episode. So if you're unfamiliar with Pete and Pete, they're two brothers named Pete. They have surreal adventures in 90s suburbia, and it's live action. It's Nickelodeon. It's incredible. I love it. It's the best magical realism for kids I think that exists.
Incredible cinematography.
Incredible cinematography.
This episode especially, because we've watched another episode for this podcast, which was still had great shots and stuff like that, but felt a little more like typical 90s. This one, and I've always felt this way about this show, has a very Wes Anderson-y style to it.
Oh, dude, totally. Paul, I was calling that out last night. Was sharing it with Heidi, who'd never seen it before. Because she didn't have cable, and she was losing her mind, loved it. And the part where the title credits, they don't also ever say their actors' names.
Right.
It's just Pete, Artie, Mom,
Dad.
Mom's plate.
That's right.
Is the most Wes Anderson thing in the world.
Yeah.
Of a diagram of a doctor pointing to it on an X-ray.
Yep.
Is very Wes
Anderson. There's a lot of elaborate setups in this one. Not elaborate, sorry, I shouldn't say elaborate, because they're not that elaborate, but they're, for television, pretty elaborate with panning shots and obviously some big coordination in terms of actors and stuff like that. There's a lot of just sequences, which is not something you normally get from a kid's television show, you know?
Yeah, and there are fun cutaway gags that ride the line between real and metaphorical.
The tiny golfer
by
what was that?
GIF? Are you talking about GIF?
Yeah, GIF is Frank Gifford, who is apparently a football announcer and maybe major celebrity. I don't know. I don't know who Frank Gifford
in real reality.
Yeah,
that is a real person.
Yeah, so he's playing himself in the show. And for this episode, Frank Gifford is guest starring as himself.
Okay.
And that's why Dad is starstruck. By the way, Dad, we never find out Dad's name. He's just Dad. To everyone, he's Dad. Or Mr. Wrigley. But
right.
But Dad owns a golf driving range that I'd say is both a rich person thing, but this is kind of a very low, blue collar golf range. It's very humble.
I find that the golf range is the most humble form of golf, right? Because anybody's allowed to show up. You can rent clubs there. Anyone could buy a bucket of balls and go to town, right?
Yeah. We also get a little bit of sort of this overarching idea of what are bears.
You mean the Joe Pera opening, which I was watching it. And it is a Joe Pera ass opening, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved it.
It is so this episode. I think more so than the last one we watched on the show, the Christmas trash garbage man episode.
Yeah,
this episode felt kind of anti-capitalist, a Pete showing beautiful nature footage of this land used to be filled with bears. And bears are awesome. Look at this footage of a bear just tumbling down a hill.
Yep.
Bears aren't here anymore because of commerce. We paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Oh my God, yes. Said that. Yep.
Yeah, the line, they say the last bear here choked to death on a bologna and cheese sandwich.
Yep.
Fucking great.
It's awesome. It's a great way to get young kids thinking a little bit maybe nature is okay.
And I think the one we watched was a Christmas episode, but it was a young Pete episode, which are far more chaotic, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Big Pete episodes tend to be a little wistful. They tend to be a little bit more moral based, but I really like how no one's really wrong in this episode. Everyone's just trying their best.
Right. Yeah.
It's not quite, it's definitely not a centrist message, but it's just empathy for everyone sort of message, except for like maybe the unruly mob of murderous golfers.
The hunters, yeah.
I love the hunter.
Yeah.
The line when they're like walking up and he's like, let's play a word association game, and you're like, where is this? What is this going? And you're kind of used to the like fucking free jazz vibe of this show where like a scene is just doing what it wants to do. But he's doing this thing, and it's this long con of like, he's walking with his fellow hunter, and he's just say a word, any word, and he's like, no, I don't want to do it, and he's like, how about I'll throw one out there. How about hunting trip? That's 2 words. Just go with me on this. Say it. Hunting trip. Yeah, this hunting trip is terrible. We haven't shot a thing, and it's just this long burn to get to this very obvious, like, simple line that they just need to deliver, right?
There are so many characters in this episode.
We need to get the very basic premise of this, because it is mostly contained around Big Pete. Little Pete's there, but he's just kind of on the side.
Yeah.
Big Pete is embarrassed because being a range boy at his dad's place carries a horrible burden of being totally fucking embarrassing.
Yep.
He tells the story of Norm Head Cheese Scrumpkin, the former range boy who had to move and maybe get plastic surgery because everyone made fun of him so much.
There's like a horror montage of like all of the former range boys, and I think one of them's just a corpse. Like, I feel like
and Pete says, I wasn't afraid of being killed or going insane. That I can handle. So fucking good.
It's so good because he says that, and then it's true though. It's what does a young teen fear the most, and it's a humiliation at the hand of their parents, and that's what that's what, like, I agree with you, Chad. There is an anti-capitalist, pro-nature a subcurrent throughout this, but I do think this episode is about being forced by your parents to do something that you are incredibly embarrassed about, right? And that's Kevin. That line, that one just worked. I love his another absolutely 90s written line. Even an amoeba laughs at a range boy. Classic 90s shit right there.
I just think Big Pete does a perfect read every line. Like, he seems to love the words he's given. Like, he says amoeba, like, with such distaste. It's great. I love this show.
He's bringing it with, like, this is all actually the most serious stuff in the world, which I appreciate as an adult, and I appreciate it as a kid watching it too. Like, the stakes have never been higher than Pete as this range boy.
We get a look at some of the other golfers. Lil Pete and Artie are practicing for a long ball hitting contest that never really goes anywhere.
Right.
Artie, the strongest man in the world,
of course.
You don't know.
And he's bombing them. And I love that when he hits them 300,000 feet away or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Older Pete, as range boy, must go retrieve it.
Yeah, he has to get every little golf ball because that's working for your dad.
Yep.
It's like, well, you have to go get the ones that are like 30,000 miles away as well.
What do you say, like $3 an hour?
$3.50 an hour, yep.
$3.50 an hour.
And golf balls aren't free. You got to go get them.
He also never, by the way, I just want to point out, he never at any point is like, I need to go tell Artie to calm down. He's like, no, Artie is a powerful mythic figure that I can't stop, so I must just deal with him hitting the long ball.
He understands what young Pete is capable of, and his avatar, Artie, will enact all of his wicked wills upon the world. So he's got to deal with it.
I mean, when you're at a certain age, like, you just know that there are barriers, and you don't really know how to take them down. Like, what are you going to do, like a 14-year-old kid against Artie, the strongest man in the world? Are you going to tell him to stop being so strong?
Right, right. Like, that's like telling a hurricane to stop blowing its winds.
Exactly. He's a force in nature, and I love him. Ellen is briefly in this episode to do something. Ellen isn't very well explored in this episode. There are way better Ellen episodes.
She champions bears, I guess.
Right. She really is just the moral compass for Pete, pretty much.
Yeah. When Big Pete gets the idea to put on a bear costume to avoid being recognized mostly by Endless Mike Hellstrom, the main antagonist for season 1.
Yeah.
Fantastic name.
Yep.
Endless Mike. I love the nicknames. Endless.
Tremendous.
Like he's a void or something, right? There's just something about it that feels intimidating.
Yeah. He's just a relentless force. Again, a relentless force of angst and antagonism.
I love when Dad is interacting with Endless Mike, and Mike is like, I got a new visualization technique. I picture your son's head on my tee, and then I just let loose. And Dad's like, interesting.
Oh, the dad has no worry about his own son's fate. Yeah. He's like, oh, cool. Well, hey, thanks for shopping here and being a customer at Mighty Bear.
Yeah. Mighty Bear, that's it, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't remember if the bus driver was in the Christmas episode, correct?
Yes.
Stu Benedict.
Stu Benedict, who might have the best line, at least my favorite line in it. So we see also, so everyone who's at the range, Kevin, as you're laying out, is sort of either getting out some frustrations or like Artie, Artie is going for his thing, but most of them are getting out their frustrations, and that's Dad's point, that this serves a purpose for the community, right?
Yeah.
And Stu is great because he's sitting there narrating at himself as if he were at the 15th hole of the U.S. Open, and he's Stu, since his girlfriend left him over nothing.
I love that read. It's so good.
Over nothing.
And he can't bring himself to swing. Like,
yes.
We occasionally like pan back to him and he's like collapsed on the ground, just like crying, trying to swing the club.
Tremendous.
This would be Stu would be right out of Scrubs, I feel like.
Yes.
Right? Like, I could see that character immediately just cuts to in the hospital.
Chad, the tone of the comedy, and I'm not a big Scrubs watcher, but from what I've seen, yes, this is very much so like you said, Kevin, the magical realism of that vibe of that show. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just without without the cuts in JD's fantasy, these things are just real.
Yes.
But my favorite, we jumped over, but just my favorite shot in the whole thing, I think is really underappreciated, is when Big Pete is talking about how word would get around as soon as people know that he's a Rangeboy, and it cuts to a random teenager blowing into a sea horn, and pointing ominously off screen, and that's the only time we ever see her. I loved that.
It's like something out of like Jason and the Argonauts. Like it's like speaking of myth again, like it's like a mythic image of this like super heroic low angle. Incredible.
It just seems like the filmmakers were having fun and they had wiggle room. Like they shot that like horn thing as like B-roll or something,
right,
and they're like, we're just like messing around and we have a horn. Maybe we could write something for this.
It's even like an easy pickup shot, right? Like it's like that's one of those things that you're like putting it together and you're like, oh, we need some footage here. Okay, we'll get I don't know, your niece wants to be in the show. We'll grab her. We'll go to a field and we're gonna pick up this shot and we're gonna lay it in over that, you know?
Yeah. It's just, there's such a warmness to like how everything is composed.
Yes.
But this is like my favorite thing to talk about. I love this show.
I appreciate like the modesty of it though. If there's something to think about, like this is maybe just me being unable to separate it from just working in production and like TV now. But I kept thinking about like exactly what you guys are talking about. Like, okay, so you just have one location and it's just around this range. Pete has a pretty cruddy bear suit, and it's just character moments of them all kind of reacting to this bear.
Right.
When the big riot, it's just like 10 people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It feels real. I love it.
The photography has this real true artistry to it. At least I think it's true artistry. I think there's some really creative and like just nice shots. Again, like almost Anderson-esque. One of my favorite shots was when Pete is after he's got the bear suit going and he's kind of things are going well with it. His dad comes out, who runs next to the cart as he's doing it, and it's like that's a hilarious moment because he's screaming at him in the cart. He pulls over and gets inside of the cart to have a heart-to-heart with him. And there's that great shot. It's just a head-on shot, two-shot of them. It framed up straight on. And it's just the grate of the cart, right? And they're having this conversation and they're punctuating. And I love this direction. They're punctuating the moments in the scene by throwing golf balls at the cart to like give a little like doom to like really like to like sell a line, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't notice that, but you're right. There is that punctuation of the golf balls in there. That's really cool.
They're timed so that like he drops a joke and it's like boom, hit it with the joke, right? Like to give it a little like to make it like a little visceral.
It's like hail hitting their car, but like intentional.
Exactly. It's great. Like there's that, and then another shot that I loved, which is a very small, like nothing shot, but I think it's also after this scene where they have this heart to heart. Pete is in the bear suit sitting on top of the cart, which his dad is underneath working on. And there's this downward shot through his legs of dad working on the cart. It's beautiful. It's just a creative angle that's interesting.
Yeah, when Pete is trying to sell his dad on the bear costume because his dad thinks he's making his range look ridiculous because GIF commented on the bear suit negatively.
GIF, who is golfing with a golf club with another tiny golfer with its own golf club, which he's triggering to hit a tiny golf ball.
And implying, they don't show where it goes, and implying that he is hitting that little tiny golf ball very far.
Yes. Yes.
But you can feel like a dark love between GIF and that little man club thing.
Oh yes. He talks to it like a little, like it's his little familiar. Does he ever show up later in the show, or is this the only time we ever see GIF?
This is his only cameo. Like this is
fascinating.
Like, I have to imagine the way this episode got made was they were like, well, we haven't given dad a job yet, and my girlfriend's uncle's friend owns a driving range, and he said we can use their ball picker upper machine.
Kevin, that's exactly it. And Chad, it's to your point earlier about like having worked on production, like you can watch this show and you can see that, right? You can see like what would have been like probably something that would have made a show feel small. There's so much love and creativity poured into it that they make these small, like they did exactly that because renting a golf, like a driving range is probably so cheap. Like that location, and you can get that for like a week, right? Rent that for like a week, 2 weeks or something like that, and just shoot almost exclusively there and have the machines. There's a lot of interesting imagery related to that with like the repetition of the driving range, like the actual ranges where the people are hitting. Like there's like you can create like cool shots like they did with that. The card itself is very interesting to shoot, and like you can do a lot of like fun, interesting things with these things, but you're also solving a very large logistical problem of how to stretch a budget.
Yeah, like the range is very interesting as far as a metaphor goes, because it's sort of like it is on the border of civilization, and it is civilization, and humans are just knocking shit into the woods, into nature, just to feel like something. I love like the two voices in Big Pete's head, like Ellen being like, just own up to being a range boy. Like, don't give into your insecurities. Dad being like, everybody has problems. This is how people deal with problems. This is how it is. Like, it's just sort of a thing where like, yeah, everybody does have problems, but how you deal with the problem is important, because there are a group of people who had problems, and they came over to America and they fucked a whole bunch of shit up.
Right.
It's simultaneously really bleak, right? That speech that he gives to Big Pete. But then at the end of the episode, when Stu, after everything's kind of settled, Stu gets that like perfect shot.
Yeah.
And sends the ball flying into the heavens, and he just seems to have peace. He just seems to have a little bit of satisfaction. Like, oh, I guess there is something magical about this golf range.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. We should talk about how the part that we're kind of jumping around a little bit is, even though it's a very simple episode, you're right. It's
all these threads. It's all these threads.
Is Pete, after he's put on the bear suit, named Mr. Bear.
Mr. Bear.
Mr. Bear is it takes over a mania of the golf course, and everyone who's there now wants to hit Mr. Bear, including the aforementioned hunters. I loved it. They're complaining about not being able to kill anything. I was like, are they going to shoot Pete?
Yeah.
But immediately they go, oh, there's a bear on the range? I guess I'll buy some golf balls.
And young Pete is working his grift, and I love his thing. He's like, they're like, can we hit the bear? Yes, you can, but he works here. Read the sign, and it says, do not hurt the bear.
He's like, how much for a bucket of balls? Like $5. We'll give you $10. And he's like, go ahead.
Be my guest. So they're going to town. I love the mom and daughter who are also doing it. And I love the one line of the girls. The mom's trying to hit the bear, and the daughter goes, I can smell his sphere. It smells like bacon. What a weird, great line.
A real Damien child, this little girl.
Yes.
He's such a silly bear, mommy. I love him.
Yep.
Too. I can smell his fear. It's great.
Yep.
Yeah. And it builds towards little Pete, who's kind of I get it. It's a brother rivalry. Has really sold his brother up the river by giving Dad the idea that at the end of the week, they're going to have a big unmasking. If you hit the bear, you make money. And then also we're going to unmask the bear.
Mm-hmm.
And to Big Pete, that is the worst thing because the only reason he even did this was to hide his identity.
Right.
And he has to decide if he's going to let his dad and little Pete down or wear the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And like he actually has leverage because, you know, little Pete and Dad did kind of sell him out. Like he was a moving target. So like when he finally tells his dad that he's embarrassed to work at the range and he walks away, like there's never a moment where Pete has to say, I'm sorry, Dad, that I said I felt embarrassed for working here. It's just, you know, he was right to just express himself.
Right.
Like that.
And
like,
I think, and to your point, Kevin, about like, this is sort of like an episode where like everybody's point of view is kind of treated like equally, where you should be emotionally like, oh yeah, I get like that's like Pete's wrong too. Like Big Pete's wrong in that like his embarrassment for, you know, just like kids who are kind of wrong, quote unquote, for being embarrassed of their parents. Not that they're wrong. It's totally fine to feel that. But like ultimately, as you get older, you realize, oh, I should have never been embarrassed of that. That didn't matter at all. Right. Like,
yeah, the whole thing is like everyone has problems. Yes, right. This is true. But are you going to make your problems someone else's problem?
Right. Yes, exactly. And everybody was doing that to each other in this episode, right?
Yeah.
And it isn't until everyone kind of gets over their problems that everything sort of resolves.
Yeah, like they find when, first there's a really lovely night scene just before the night of the big bear unmasking, where Ellen and Pete are picking up golf balls.
I love that they're picking up golf balls, and there's thousands of golf balls everywhere, and they have a machine that does it, but they're picking them up by hand here.
Because it's cute.
It is.
Because it's a cute scene.
It's cute. A very cute scene, and it has my favorite like cinematography. It has my favorite shot in it, which is like Ellen points up to the sky. You see all the stars, and like there's a little outline of Ursa Major, and that's great. But then it reverse shots back to the ground, an overhead shot, and all the golf balls on the lawn look like stars in the sky.
Oh yeah, it was a great one. Yep,
again, I love that.
Another creative shot. It's just like there's a lot, like we said already. There's so much love, obvious love in this for this show.
Oh yeah.
There's something about like I kept thinking about like Artie and how much he's selling, or Toby has how much he's selling Artie. Even the way it's shot, though, right? Like it seems underrated, but I feel like in a worser show, in a generic like 3-camera kid show now, they wouldn't be doing this thing of like down on the street level, Artie like crawling on the ground, begging Clark to remember him.
Right.
Because we mentioned that Artie hit Clark with a golf ball and he has amnesia. The turtle's fine, but he forgot who he was.
Just turtle amnesia.
I love it.
Can't you remember the stars, Clark? The twinkly, stinkly stars.
Stinkly stars.
It's really sweet. Like, there's something about it that feels, very earnest. And in another show, that would have been a very cynical, like, lazy character, right? Like, you would just be like, we'll just dump all the wacky jokes on him.
It's a damn shame this show only got 2 seasons, because you can absolutely tell that every single person involved is loving what they're doing.
There is a 3rd season.
Is there?
Yeah, but it's a little compromised.
Oh, is it?
What happened? What happened in the 3rd season?
Artie leaves in season 2. And Nona is Artie's replacement, like friend character for Big Pete. But like she was filming Harriet the Spy at the time.
Yep.
So she's not really there. So there's just not a lot of little Pete. So it's like too much Big Pete. And it just kind of, there aren't as many like incredible episodes like this in season 3. And also this season 3 apparently was, I think we brought this up last time, but season 3 was apparently like they printed DVDs for it and then they just left them in a shipping container somewhere and they never sold them.
On purpose?
Yeah. They didn't do it.
Those are cursed discs.
Yep. But they're somewhere, allegedly. So Little Pete and Dad are being pelted by golf balls because everyone's angry that the bear isn't present. And then Big Pete has a change of heart, even though he gets a cheek kiss from Ellen.
Right.
Like,
oh my God.
I know, right? Like scandalous. And he goes back to the range to help his family. And then Artie hits him with the golf ball.
Artie fucking kills him.
Absolutely beanballs him, knocking Pete into Clark.
Yeah, and curing Clark's turtle amnesia as well.
And then Artie picks him up and runs off and spitting off a panoply of great lines. One of my favorite is, "No, I'm driving this time," as he runs off.
And I love this moment because it's Artie. He doesn't give a shit about unmasking Mr. Bear. And everyone's like, aren't you going to unmask the bear? So Pete has like yet another opportunity to just walk away from all of this and not learn anything. And he just takes the mask off himself, and he's proud of himself because he did the right thing. It's great.
I love it. And then he mauls them all because that's what a bear would do.
And then it ends with this line, which is too smart and too deep for any kid show to ever deserve, where he says, whether they're hitting golf balls or shooting bullets, humans have this need to keep reminding themselves that they're all the king of the jungle. It comes from being insecure, I think.
Yeah.
Bam.
And then Stu Benedict hits his perfect shot, and it's like...
It's good.
It's a great end. It's emotional. I don't know. It's a great episode. This was I think this show now, I'm sorry, Goosebuds is now Pete and Pete Buds.
This is also just like an end of summer vibe.
Yeah. Oh my god, the trees were turning in it, right?
Yeah. It's I love watching like X-Files and Pete and Over the Garden Wall around this time of year. Like it's my pumpkin spice latte. It's
big fall energy on this show.
I immediately want to watch more of them. I'm with y'all in that, like, you know, I was fond of it, and when we watched that previous garbage Christmas episode,
I love it.
It was solid, but it wasn't like it didn't hit the same. It was really good, but it didn't hit as nostalgic as this Rangeboy episode for me.
Right.
I definitely was looking back and going, like, I think there was a residual bonus effect that Pete and Pete had on the rest of Nickelodeon's like live action shows at the time, where, like, you know, after we rewatched Salute Your Shorts, pretty good, not even close to as good as Pete and Pete by comparison.
No, and it's kind of wild because, like, Paul, you said that this is your favorite thing that Nickelodeon's ever done, and I'm like, I have to weigh this against Avatar: The Last Airbender. Like, I don't know how to compare these two shows.
Best live action thing that Nickelodeon has done.
It's pretty strong.
It's funny you bring that up because there are a lot of live action Nickelodeon shows from the 90s and early 2000s that I think would be really interesting to cover on Goosebuds.
Yeah.
Mystery Files of Shelby Woo. So Weird was Disney.
Okay.
Secret Life of Alex Mack was a big one for me.
Secret Life of Alex Mack. Yeah.
Yep. I feel like revisiting some pilots of these shows would be a really fun thing to do.
I would love to do that. 100 Good Deeds for Eddie McDowd. That's kind of goosebumpsy.
I don't know if I remember that one.
You know,
okay.
I don't remember that one. You know, I did just say pilots, and now as I thought about it after I said that, I actually feel like finding the best episode, you know, similar to like how we cherry picked a couple Pete and Pete episodes would be a really good way to go about it.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
If we ever have time to do another Pete and Pete, I know which one I really want to do. I don't know if it's cool to cover this on the podcast.
Oh yeah, which one?
But I have such a fondness for what I think is the last episode of season 2, the Mr. Swirly episode.
Oh my goodness!
Oh yeah, that one's so good. I
was thinking about it last night. Like, that is a mythical depiction of an ice cream man basically as a cryptid.
Yeah,
and
Yes.
I think that planted a lot of like seeds in my brain as a kid.
It's got Michael Stipe in it.
Michael Stipe's in that one?
I had no idea who that was as a kid.
Me either.
But Michael Stipe of REM.
Wait, did we talk about that?
I think we may have mentioned that on the Christmas episode.
I don't know if we mentioned this. I was looking at just the wiki of cameos of people who are on the show.
There are a lot, yeah.
There are a lot. Like, and like, oh yeah, of course. I guess like Selma Blair or Chris Elliott or Ella Cool J would be on it. Sure, that's all people. Patty Hearst was on a fucking episode?
Yeah,
what?
Dude.
Yeah. Debbie Harry. This show had like amazing.
Again, tied into that New York music scene, right?
Iggy Pop was a regular member of the show.
Yes, Iggy was the mailman, right?
No, he was Ellen's. He wasn't Ellen's dad. I think he was Nona's dad.
Oh, okay. I thought for some reason
James Pop Mecklenburg, plays by Iggy Pop. Nona's loving and occasionally overprotective. So was Nona's dad.
Nona's dad. Okay, I remember. Why did I think he was the mailman? Maybe he was in a music video where he was a mailman or something like that.
Probably.
There's one episode that's one big Stand By Me reference, Paul, that I think you'd like.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, I would love to see that. Little
Pete's lucky penny runs out of luck. And he leaves it on a train track to destroy it.
I remember that one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they're told by the bullies that the train is going to derail itself if it hits the penny. So they go in the night to retrieve the penny from the track. It's great.
Oh, dude, this is a show that I have never revisited fully as an adult. I've obviously watched some episodes with you. I used to watch it with my buddy Joe Williams, who really kind of reintroduced me to the show, because I always loved it as a kid, but was like, yo, this show still holds up, and we would watch it. Which, by the way, in this episode, Pete talks about how becoming a mascot freed him in all these ways. My buddy Joe, who I would watch this show with, was a mascot for a Philadelphia college that he attended, and said the exact same thing about how putting on that suit, because he's not a very performative guy. He's a very he's funny, he's personable, he's not a shy person in any way, but he's not the same person to go out and dance in front of tens of thousands of people. But he talked about the freeing nature of putting on that mascot suit, and they're spot on with that in this. In college, I had a gorilla suit that I owned, and I would often. Once or twice, not often. Once or twice, I would crash a soccer game and run onto the field from out of the woods in a gorilla suit and do a little dance and then disappear back into the woods. Kevin, I never knew this about you. I never knew about your secret gorilla phase.
So wait, what brought the mood about?
Why would I do the gorilla dance?
Why would you? Yeah, why on a certain night would you go dance?
Why do painters paint? Why do poets poet?
Yeah, I had a friend on the soccer team who was like, it would be cool if someone crashed the game and did something interesting because I'm so bored. And I'm like, interesting. I just came into a gorilla suit. The world's your oyster when you're like a 17-year-old with a gorilla suit in a heavily wooded suburb.
Yes, it is.
Damn, if that's not a vibe.
It was great. It was great. It was no one would do anything. Like, no one chased me. I was just I would just kind of dance, and then I'd leave the soccer field.
Nobody was paid enough to chase you during that.
That's awesome, Kevin. Please tell me you have some pictures of you in a gorilla suit.
There definitely are, but my mom probably has the scrapbook of them.
I hope it's just the one photo of you as you doing the Bigfoot lean and look back as you walk through the woods.
And that gorilla suit reeked too. It was the smelliest fucking grossest
I can imagine.
Suit.
Yeah, those things just absorb sweat.
Oh yeah, it was all sweat from 1982 in there.
Oh, antique sweat.
Antique sweat. It was potent.
Here's what I think we should do. I love Pete and Pete. We're adding a tier. I'm saying this, and I'm not even consulting you guys. We're adding a tier to our Patreon. We hit it. Pete and Pete podcast happening.
I think Pete and Pete are like the Danny Tamborelli and Big Pete are doing a podcast where they rewatch Pete and Pete.
Are they?
So, yeah, we can edge in on their racket, I feel.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, that's their own thing. That's a behind the scenes featurette. This is. Ours is mythology unfolding before your eyes.
Yeah. I would love to continue to observe Pete and Pete episodes under the Goosebuds umbrella, but if there's demand for it, and
let us know.
Yeah, let us know. I want to keep making these things. I want to keep exploring these weird shows.
Yeah, if I can get an excuse to watch, more Pete and Pete, or as we have talked about, maybe some more Nickelodeon live actions.
Yeah, I'm telling you. All right, let me pitch 100 Good Deeds for Eddie McDowd really quick.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay.
I feel like this will be a Chad one.
Okay, all right.
So Eddie McDowd, as far as I remember the plot, Eddie McDowd is a bully, and he is cursed by a witch and transformed into a dog.
Okay.
What?
And as a dog, he must perform 100 good deeds.
That's so easy for a dog. Dogs do good deeds all day long.
I know, right? But like he has like human
but he doesn't have a dog's nature. Oh.
No, yeah, he has human nature, and like he has to like correspond to human levels of morality.
Oh.
Is he a dog all the time?
Goodness.
Yeah. I think there's like one or two where he's not a dog for magic reasons, but like magic is real. He's a dog. I think he can talk to like people he's bullied or something like that.
Okay.
Like
cool.
Like there's another kid he can talk to or some shit. I don't know.
My Name is Earl meets Animorphs is what you're
Yes.
saying.
Wow. Yeah. Yes.
The most fucked up part is it was canceled before he could do 100 good deeds. So
he's trapped as a dog forever.
In dog limbo.
He's still a dog. Unless Nickelodeon reboots it with like a really old dog.
Well, now I think we got to do a podcast about that show just to try and get it finished.
Yeah,
I agree.
We got to write some fanfic, do some fan canon, complete the work.
Finish the lore of 100 Good Deeds. I think that's probably been an episode, y'all.
Yeah, that's a buds.
That was a beautiful buds. It was beautiful, soul enriching buds.
Hey, Paul, let's say I'm a listener. And I want to support the show and also have like more of an input on what we cover next. Say like another Pete and Pete or Goosebumps 2000. What would be the best way to do that?
Well, boy, do I have a website for you. Patreon.com/goosebuds. There's a website where you can give us money and you can vote on things and you can say things to us. There's a Discord channel where you can talk to us and also make us do things that we may or may not want to do. And we will
to sound like an OnlyFans. It's not an OnlyFans. Just want to clarify.
I'm not opposed to starting one though.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: we're bandying about an idea right here for some more Nickelodeon related content. Maybe that's something that you get on the Patreon and you get to be a part of making happen. If you're interested.
Yeah, listen, we're just the ideas guys. We want to know what like the higher ups want. So go on to our Patreon and join up on our Discord and let us study you. Let us learn.
Be a producer.
Yeah, help produce us.
Also, you also reach us on Twitter at GoosebudsPod, Gmail at goosebuds@gmail.com.
True.
Hey, and if you probably listen to this on an iTunes or some other podcast streaming service. We did just start re-uploading our episodes to YouTube. If you want to go give them a listen over there too. If you like to put things on at night and fall asleep to them, some people like to do that. Throw it on your TV.
Yeah, if you want a little throwback, I think we're starting with like what episodes in the 20s?
In the 20s. Yeah. It's it's going to be a journey back through. So if you need an excuse to go listen to it again, there's your excuse.
Mm-hmm. I also noticed the subreddit's been very active recently. So you can go over to reddit.com/r/goosebuds and discuss there as well. Speaking of reviews, would you guys like to read an iTunes review with me?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in so long.
We haven't done it in a while, but y'all have been leaving wonderful reviews on iTunes, which helps us get discovered by new listeners and helps the show in terms of visibility. So much appreciated. I got a review here from Cooper 4301420.
Wow.
With the review, The Podcast That Glumps, 5 stars. Of all the Goosebumps themed podcasts out there, and I can only imagine there are tons, there's a couple, this is easily the best one. I had plenty of Goosebump books as a kid, but I was always too scared to read them, mainly because the Curse of Camp Cold Lake cover was so scary.
True.
It is. Mm-hmm. But this is a great way to experience these sour stories safely. 10 out of 10 would slink again. Also wouldn't mind a little more Goosebumps RPG.
Thank you for that, Cooper 4301420. That was contained a bunch of inside jokes. Glomp got little Me Pretty Freak, got Slink in there. And then also we just recently asked if people wanted more Goosebumps RPG. Cooper gave us the answer.
Yeah. I guess that's it. We're doing more Goosebumps.
I guess so. Thanks, Cooper.
Goosebuds RPG. Yeah, we got to do more. I got a fun little review here from Shamwise! Exclamation point. This review is entitled "Horrific Fun." 5 stars. That's the most.
Max stars.
Max stars. Maxed it out. Goosebuds is a wonderful podcast with three good boys chatting about the beloved and dubious in quality children's horror books, Goosebumps. That's a good synopsis of our show. It's got a good balance of pop culture and insightful perspectives on R.L.'s many books, an adorable monster blood-soaked gem.
Oh, thank you,
Shamwise. That's like a warm hug.
Oh, I would expect nothing less from someone named after the greatest Hobbit. VX Thunder left us a comment. Another Max Stars comment. 5 stars. These boys speak the potty language I want to hear.
I love it.
That's fantastic. A feel-good, funny, and lightly spooky show. I can't give this pod enough stars. These buds are truly the best. Thank you for calling us slightly spooky. If you were ever too scared to listen to our podcast, you would never have made it to this point, so I can't convince you. I'm sorry. But that one should have been the one that convinced you.
Thank you all. Well, very much appreciated.
I feel like this next review is going to convince anyone who's not convinced.
Oh, yeah, let's say it.
Chad, do you want to read this one, or?
Kevin, I think I want to hear you say it.
Okay, this is a long one, but I'll get right to it. This is by Glitched Pixel. The review is entitled Goosebutts. 5 stars.
Max,
and the review reads as follows. Goosebutts.
That counts. That max star vote counts.
That was the other parts were maybe there just because they had to fill out some fields. Max stars count still though. We're gonna count that one. We're gonna add that into our tally.
And now we have a name for our OnlyFans.
Oh my god, Kevin, it's brilliant.
Thank you, Glitch Pixel. I love it.
Thank you to everybody who's left a review. And if you could leave a review, if you have the time, it's not that hard. You can just give us a Goosebutts, but make sure, please, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but give us a max star review.
You're not allowed to do it. We have to tell people to vote how they feel, I believe, or else it's corruption, and iTunes will investigate us and audit us.
I do not want to get audited.
Vote what's in your heart.
So,
vote what's in your heart.
Yeah, just tell us how you think we completely randomly picked these reviews that all happen to be 5 stars. So, just write what you think. And, we're just trying to signal boost the truth, as we always do on this program.
Well said, Kevin. Well said.
All right, well, my cat is staring at a door and trying to get out of it, so I probably should let him out.
All right. Let's all go to our cats.
Thanks for hanging. Yeah, everyone go to your cats and tell them they're good boys. I'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Love you. Bye.
This episode of Goosebuds is brought to you by our lovely Patreon donors. We'd like to say thank you with a little segment we call The Book of Names.
The Book of Names.
And let's start with Stefan Jive Turkey Kuwabara,
Hollis Hornbeak,
Cameron Murphy Audio,
Michael McDowell,
David Cron,
Josh Robertson,
Mickey C,
Nathan Dolezal,
Clayton C,
Mike Lanteri,
Buddy Morrill,
Alicade,
Mel Dipson,
Jim Greaves,
Zankeef,
Afsheen,
Danky McStanky,
Dango Twists,
Brian Wells,
Zen Tickles,
Stealth Bates,
Joseph Miranda,
Low Belly Hate Me,
Patrick Reynolds,
Scott Colopy,
Robert Moon,
Jason Crooker,
John Keaty,
Clay Castle,
Miguel Pardo,
Christina Doling,
Third Sergio,
Calf,
Matthew More Paranoia Shop.
Oh, thank you.
Sniggy,
Sniggy, thank you for subbing to my Patreon.
Oh, Sniggy, thank you. Reinfected.
Maddie,
Eshak Arafin,
Gregory D. Warren,
Alan Saylor,
Sam Hash,
Cody Redfield,
Rich Hilborn,
Bradford Coulter,
Aiden Alexander Dace,
Jar Jar Slinks,
Justin Wagman,
Chosen One,
Card Boardwalk,
Leviathan,
Up and Champ.
Jonas Eggman.
Wait a second. It doesn't say Leviathan. It says Levithan.
Yeah. Or Levi-than.
I think I've always said Leviathan.
Yeah.
I also have.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Hope you're leaving all this in, Kevin.
Please.
I better.
Please. Go on. I'm sorry.
Jonas Eggman.
Alicia Grafe.
Maloyster.
Carl.
Hey, Broccoli. Pause for a second. I gotta get something off my chest. I think I love Paul. Nice.
Oh, it's like you self-love yourself.
Nice
That's
change.
good,
Yeah,
man.
that was a great change.
Thank you, Broccoli, for also donating to my Patreon.
Hey, Broccoli! The John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation.
Elusive Koala.
Yanni Markovina.
Jonas Blatterman.
Joe.
Brooke X.
Jesus Christ.
Christian Vanskiver.
Drew Applegate.
Jeremy Lowe.
Brian Hobgood.
Zach Connor.
Paul Grasso.
Trans Rights.
Patreon_donator, yo.
Joe Spooky Digital Ghost Tierney.
Taylor Dierks.
Joe, I'm not tired. I always look like this. Scott, I feel that one.
Damn, real. Tom Whittam.
Trendy Moron.
Nope, I'm not going to read the funny name attempt from Andrew Jadzik this time.
Lord Cornwallis.
Elizabeth Steenweg.
Cardamom Birkenbino.
Murph EP.
Vincent Modica.
Luke Noodles.
Hugh Bolin.
Zam Bambino.
Tevin Ticklebean is your new best friend.
Aw. Goon Cahoots.
Sness Chalmers.
Sean Minogue.
Wormtown Glen.
Wiggle It.
John Pigeon Hat Barber.
Nathan Remick.
Divaldi.
Chip Handsome.
Matt McKellen.
Reed Stubbendeek.
Alex Moon, the robot dog.
Joey Evans.
Sarah Kemp.
Tanya Turtle.
Chili Dish Gambino.
Carewise Gamgee.
Brett.
Uncle Cool Brother.
Cameron Hansen.
Adam You Goofed.
Juan Jalapena.
General Lee Depressing.
Dom Sexy Ghost, aka Captain Sick.
Muscles Bear.
Yeah.
Ben Bohan.
Keith Halcrow.
Chris Haunted Pajama Boner Nelson.
Timothy Misodulakis.
Clay McCarty.
Matthew Stevens.
Parker Lee.
Dan.
Chris Pittman is a bone wizard.
Bass Gerritsen.
Hey, Eric. It's gonna be all right. You're doing a great job.
You are, Eric.
Love you, Eric.
Love you, bud.
Hambo.
That was a weird follow-up.
Love you too, Hambo.
Love you too. Hambo, you're great. Please stop sending slappy cum tributes to goosebuds@gmail.com. Please stop it.
God, it's in my head now. When dragons rule.
Raymond Hernandez.
I don't want to hold up. I don't want to gunk things up too much, but I really want someone to write a song called "When Dragons Rule" because it seems like it would be an awesome song.
Please.
Yeah.
Flamily.
The Crowfens.
Matthew Sutton.
Jonas N. Voldson.
Calamity Carl.
Patrick Murphy.
Germ Juice.
Jeffrey Owen Cahy. You are in so much trouble.
Oh, no.
Ooh. Full name.
Nick Johnson.
Lee Wood.
Kelsey Kinnaman.
Clear as Stephen Day.
Beautiful. Russell Castberg.
Javier Jimenez.
Brendan Arafin.
Liam Neeson's Dell.
Chris Putricus.
Scottie Pippen.
Streak.
Meet Virginia.
Ryan Carroll.
Jeremy Bowser.
Dungeon Kappa.
Megan McCormick Mason.
MC Hamster.
Zach Weir.
Tamid Munir.
Ninja Breadman.
Hood Lemon.
Alan G. Jussum.
Tobias Clark.
Michael Kupka.
Julian Lemendia.
Adam Muth.
Got little old moi pretty fruits.
Brendan Neal.
Andre Villanueva.
Dr. Chocula.
Jimmy Soul.
Peanutberg, level 69.
Moon Juice.
Estamina, Lord of Paul's Pants.
You'll never get him! The Davy Boy.
Kenny M.
SSJ Trogdor.
Oh my god, it could
Is that Super Saiyan
I
Trogdor?
didn't know Trogdor could become more powerful.
Super Social Justice Trogdor, baby.
Dr. Diarrhea.
Kieran McNamara.
Diet Soda.
Quigley Jones.
Jackie Ledoux.
Great name.
Coleman Laguza.
Another one. Lamb.
Mike Spaghetti Jones.
Redemption.
Levi Kidder.
David Gray.
Bryce Diuri.
Matthew Brettado.
I am Cornholio. I need TP for my bunghole.
Nice one.
Chris.
Carbson.
David Lynch, XXX, Brendan Fraser, 666.
Yes.
Dude, those are some powerful names and numbers you're throwing out there. You better be careful.
That's a powerful ship.
That used to be 311 in there, I think.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
I'm glad they found each other. Is it my turn?
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
Luke Humanzi Allen.
Some of Chad's bird friends.
Oh. Nicholas Maloney.
Wagmar Wigmere.
Dakota Camp.
Midwest Indigo 13.
Eric Horwitz.
Tiffany Lee.
The Secret Provider.
Thomas Jansis.
Lucretia McEvil.
Ooh.
Elm Realm.
Ooh. Some good names.
Yeah.
Mutant Astronaut.
Kiwio Flarb.
Bjarndir. I think I nailed that one.
You did. You did. I would not have been able to read. I would have been like, BJ Arndire.
Your time in Valheim has served you well.
It truly has.
Yeah.
Serial Killer X.
Soggy Newspapers.
Alec Johnson.
Henry Torbert. Or Henry Torbert. I don't know.
Who knows? Only Henry does.
Only Henry does.
Hannah Yeager-Bush.
Gakenti.
The Skoteg.
The Adam Knapp.
Joe Melnick.
And welcome to these new Patreon patrons. Welcome, Benjamin Luther.
Logan Derby.
Welcome, Brad Schmelzer.
Welcome, Burger's Wonderful World Official.
Oh, man. I can't believe this isn't just the fan account.
And welcome, Edgar's Crachis? I don't know. We'll figure it out over time. You're stuck here forever, so we'll figure it out at some point.
Welcome, new patrons.
To the Book of Names.
We love you all. Thank you all so very, very much.
Thank you. We love you.
Love you guys. Bye.
We're going to etch your names in with our blood.